Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is JCS, the owner, founder, ruler, grand poobah of OCWFED, and this is The Desk, my platform to rant, rave, bitch, and be moan all things that encompass OCWFED and its subsidiaries. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Hi. So it's morning for me, but it's probably going to be afternoon or evening for you, so just get that out the way real quick. In case you're wondering, we just come from, yeah, whatever, I speak how I speak. A hard target last week, Sunday, 27th of October. Wonderful show. And you can check out a review on Hard Target on OCWFED TV on YouTube. I was going to say .com. Well, you could on .com, but also on OCWFED TV / YouTube, or the other way around. I'm dyslexic, it's fine. Anyways, a couple things to touch base upon, and then we can get on with our lives. First and foremost, there needs to be a thing done, and I'm looking at the good old YouTube. Fantastic. Shout out to Jim, our developer on site, for taking some extra tasks and jobs, I guess, or stuff that I delegate towards him. For example, we're a little backed up on the results. I got to get to that ASAP Rocky, or rather Jim's going to get to that for me, because we're going to basically, I haven't been doing my due diligence because insert excuse here, which is fine. That's my cross to bear. So I had Jim fix it. So he'll get on that today or tomorrow, and that'll be updated. And then moving forward, I'll get back on track and keep that updated myself. Because after, I think, Summerside, I kind of started slacking. And the funny thing is, I have a sticky post, a note that says, do it. And I just, like, something happens and I just don't. Because there's a lot that happens. And you just got to roll with the punches. Speaking of punches, having a first world problem. Very sad. My phone died. So I gotta get a new one, and that's a whole big conundrum. I'm worried about all my images and shit like that, because those are memories and stuff. And if you know me, you know that I love memories. So shout out to that. And hopefully that first world problem gets rectified as soon as I argue with somebody at my local phone carrier trying to get a brand new phone. For those that don't know, I've had this phone for about 7 years because, again, this should let you know who I am as a person. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I didn't have to fix that phone. I was able to use my IGs, my Twitters, and my Discord, and occasionally slow-ass directions if I needed them. That was it. I'm a simple man. Or typing in the little searching machine, like who does the voice of, what's his face, in Dan the Dan, or who's the voice actress for fucking MASH in Mashal. Shit like that. Just random questions as I'm watching. That's it. So, simple life. Simple wife, simple time, simple crimes. You get the idea. Anyway, it's not about my personal garbage. It's about OCWFED, so let's get on to that. I do have the results of the survey we did, the web survey regarding Hard Target, which I'll get to later on. But today, I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of questions that I had. Not questions, rather. Jesus. I wanted to touch on a couple of things that I wanted to discuss. For example, if you didn't know, we have an advanced schedule. Tentatively. At the moment, I do believe that Animal House is scheduled for November 23rd. I do believe that's when it's scheduled for, and Drago Caesar's handling that. Jake and I will be doing commentary, and a few people will be participating, and you can just see, you can bother Drago Caesar for that on the site. Please don't delay. It's for charity. I'll be running the charity stream on the 23rd, usual time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to Saturday. As per usual, we will be doing giveaways and game keys and all that good stuff, trying to whatever. I'll be doing game keys. Drago will probably be going OD getting game keys. And if you have game keys to submit to us, or software, whatever the hell you want, please send to me directly or send to Drago. We'll put it on the spreadsheet and we'll just add that to the pool for people. And yeah, it's for a good cause, for charity. I am well aware that there's a couple of things that haven't been touched on regarding Animal House, and that once again, that's just we'll get to it. We'll figure it out. Jesus, it's just, I think I'm a bad person. I think that's what that is. I think I'm just an awful person. You try, but you fail. You just got to get back up and keep failing. Anyway, Back to the action. On top of that, then we have, I do believe, this is tentative date for the anniversary show, should be December 20th. Let me double check that on my dial. I'm sorry, 21st of December. That looks to be a Saturday. Saturday, December 21st. I know it's like a holiday weekend. We usually stop on the week prior, but we need some extra time for Animal House, and we need some extra time for people to get their stories rolling. So technically, if you use Animal House and the shows leading up to it, you'll have roughly about 5 weeks if you don't count the commentary week for the anniversary show. So you got 5 weeks. So if I was you, I would use Animal House and the shows leading up to the December 21st to build your potential stories and angles and feuds for OCW. I think it's a 20th anniversary. It is the 20th anniversary. That's what I was pushing for. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, the topic I wanted to broach, multiple topics. Well, the first one would be the question that I ask of you, dealing with the new calendar. Essentially, the idea or the plan is to have Resolution 19. We are on 19, I do believe. Yes, Resolution 19 will be in March, basically at the end of the cycle that is 2K24. So Jake Allen broached this subject post-podcast, and it kind of made some sense. So I wanted to speak to the community on what they think, and then maybe we can figure out a way to go forward. So essentially, the past 2 years, I wish I gotta stop saying and I don't know what's wrong. I'm tired. I've only had coffee. I'm stressed. This phone nonsense, it's minuscule, but my thing is the images and stuff. You know, I had my dog who passed away there. I had a bunch of I really need to get that remedied, and hopefully it can be. We'll see, but it's been bugging me because I'm very big on memories because my brain's not holding stuff as it should, and I don't want to forget these things because I will. It's like it's slipping away. Anyway, I digress. Where was I? Oh, yes. Here we were. So essentially what Jake had said is that resolution is ending. Well, the resolution shouldn't be the end of a season. It should be like basically like the middle. So in the past two iterations with 2K22 and 2K23, we've been having resolution basically about maybe if it comes out in March, April, May, maybe the early part of a season. And since resolution is like this big cap off, we kind of, hit our crescendo super early. Whereas prior to that, in the older games and basically 2K9, basically every other season from, I'm going to say 2K10, actually every other season, we've always started in November or October, and we would cap off on March, April, or May, or early June back then, and you would still have basically a lot. You would have the summer side, then you would have like the kind of the fall cool down, and then you were kind of wrapped up by October for the next game to drop. So we don't have that luxury now, and for the past two seasons, we're basically hitting Lucian early, and then there's kind of like no gap in between, and we hit summer side right away. So we're basically hitting our two big shows like back to back, and it's kind of diluting Summerside, I would say. I feel like it's kind of like, I don't know, just it feels strange, and I don't have the words to articulate the feeling that I'm having. On top of that, we're also kind of like rushing to build solution right after the game releases in March because of this March deployment. So in my infinite wisdom, I was thinking that rather than have a pay-per-view to end the season like we had when the hell was it? Or rather, yeah, we usually have a pay-per-view to end the season. I can't think of the one we had last March off the top of my head. I think it might have been a super show, whatever it was. It's not coming to me right now. That would be where Lucian goes, and that's how you end the season. But by the same token, Lucian is the end. So it's kind of weird. On one hand, you could believe, okay, it's the end, so now we start fresh. But by the same token, Lucian's never supposed to be the end. It's supposed to be like that kind of hard middle. So right now it's like super early, so it's not the middle. And back then it was kind of just right. So I believe, if I'm correct, Jake's assumption would be that we would have Lucian sometime in maybe October-ish, like Bound for Glory back in the day or whatever. That would be more of the middle point of the season, and then you have like the whatever happens to, because what basically happens for Lucian is, you know, the old timers or whatever, everybody shows up, gets their programs up, and then some people decommission themselves for a while. Some legends go away, some players go away, and then they come back, whatever. These past Lucians, it hasn't really been like that too much because of the way the game is deployed. So the question really boils down to, after we're done talking in circles and sideways and up and down, left, right, BA, selecting and start, is where do you think this show should be? After consideration, I kind of don't hate the October thing, because October we just have like a, you know, like in this case, it's been so far 2 years of Hard Target, but in this case, it would be like Resolution. And that way you have time to build these shows, build these angles. Summerside becomes a big marquee event as it's meant to be. And then within 2 months, we go into like, what's it called? The anniversary show. Or even at that point, might be able to move the anniversary show to January or something like that. Because basically, if we have Lucian in October, then in December would be basically that's like what, October. If it's the middle of October, you get like 2 months or whatever, almost 3 months before the anniversary show, something like that. So it's something to consider. What do you think? You think do you think it should be the last show before the new platform, or do you think it should be, as it was for the many seasons prior, the middle of the middle to the end of the season, or do you think it should be like it is now, where it's like basically within 2-3 months of the season? I'll leave that question to you guys, and you guys can fill out the poll, see what you say, and I don't know, maybe we'll go with that, maybe not. I don't know. Not too sure what the answer is, but there's compelling arguments on both sides for that discussion. Anywho, and now with the power of editing, we are back. I have the results from the survey. Out of 20 users, for the most part, most of it's filled out. So we'll go through the match ratings individually. We'll go through the breakdown of the individual match ratings from the community. Then I'll toss in my 2 cents. And hopefully I can read this cognizantly and at a nice slow pace, because this is my second take and I was just rambling through it. I was actually doing a very good Meltzer, just like my OCD, ADHD, all the D's, pause, no DD, was kicking off. But let's try it this way. Anyway, we have the Iron Man match for the OCW World Championship. El Parker defending against Sheldon Tremblay. A weighted average of 3.40, an average rating of 3.4 stars out of 5, and the breakdown is as such. We have, with 2 stars, 5 people. We have 3 stars, 6 people. We have 4 stars, 5 people, and we have 5 stars, 4 people. Interesting. So this match I would probably give a 3.3. I give it a solid 3, honestly. It wasn't, and again, 2 for me is kind of like above, about average. 3 is slightly above average for me. So I give it a 3. I'd be in the 3 camp. The people that gave it a 2 are kind of, it's a little strange, but it'd be like that. 5 for this match is kind of crazy, but again, this is the voting. So out of 5, we have a 3.4, which I feel is pretty accurate. Maybe a smidge lower, 3.2, if you want to be nasty. Like I said, I gave it a 3, but if you want to do the numerical average, I'd do it maybe a 3.2, which is not bad at all. It's pretty average above, I guess. The bog standard, if you will. Nothing remarkable, nothing awful, I guess is the terminology. We have, moving on, the North American Championship. Jinx defending against C-Note. The weighted average is 3.42. The average rating is 3.4. We have 2 stars, 3 users. 3 stars, 7 users, 4 stars, 7 users, 5 stars, 2 users. Total of 19 votes. So someone either forgot or abstained. Generally, I would assume that every match should probably have, 1 to 2 less votes, depending. Like, you shouldn't really vote on your match because you can't trust yourself to vote properly. At least I can't trust you to vote properly. That's just me. If you were Jake or myself, we would always give ourselves a low score to begin with. But 3.4, I feel like this could be a smidge lower, like 1. I'd give it a 3. So again, we had 3, we had 7 users. So the 3 and 4, we have 7 a pop. So that's kind of crazy. We have 5s. 2 people gave it a 5. I'm going to assume that C-Note and Jinx gave themselves 5 because that's just how I feel. But again, this is more or less where you want to be, 3.4. I can't really fault it. I'd drop it down by 1. 3.3, but that's me. It was wow. I should edit that up, but I'm not going to edit it out. It was a pretty decent match. Jesus. I can't. We have the OCW Pride Championship Suplex defending against Dragana Caesar with a 3.75 weighted average and an actual average of 3.8. 2 stars, we have 1, which is fucking banana. That was probably Suplex. Just kidding. 3 star, we have 7. 4 stars, we have 8. 5 stars, we have 4 for a total of 20 views total. 3.8, I feel like that's more or less where it needs to be. Yeah, I mean, is it a 4? It was a pretty good match, but I think 3.8, 3.9, if you wanna pick hairs, it's definitely above average. It's definitely exciting from front to the end. Story being told was pretty good too. Like finishers could not be hit, and the way it ended with the legs kicking up was kind of nice. So I think the community as a whole was pretty like on the button, on the nose, if you will. We have the OCW Tag Team Championships, Mass Effect versus Cold Front, a weighted average of 3.21, an average of 3.2, with 19 users out of 20. So that means 1 skipped. So I don't know if maybe one of the tag team abstained or just someone didn't want to vote for this. Like, I kind of feel like you should vote for everything, but, you know, shit happens. What are you going to do? So far, no 1-star matches. We have 2 people for 2 stars, 12 people for 3 stars, 4 people for 4 stars, and 1 person for 5 stars with a total of 19, as I mentioned. 3.2 I feel is low. I think I personally would give it a 3, which would probably be the average. So I would probably lean to a 3.5 as an average rating would be what you would expect from this match. I think the general consensus is this is a 3-star match. So if you add the little whatever, it's, I don't know, 3.5. I feel like the match was good. Everybody had tag team moves. Everybody got their shit in. It was a solid tag team match. I don't really know what else you expect from that. So this should be a smidge higher. So yeah, 3.5 on my take. If we're gonna do it this way, I'm just going by the numbers. We have the grudge match, a weighted average of 3.20, an average rating of 3.2. We have 2 stars 4. We have 3 stars 12. We have 4 stars 0, and we have 5 stars 4 for a total of 20. So all 20 users regarding this poll. I feel like this is a bit low as well, like the tag team match. This is definitely a 3.5 in my book. I'd give it a 4-star. I found it to be entertaining, but again, it'd be like that sometimes. So there's no 4s. There's no 4 stars. It's either mostly the thing I find kind of funny. You got 4 for 2 stars, and then you got 4 for 5 stars. So we're all over the place here, but the average of 12 is for 3 stars. So I'd say 3.5 at minimum. I found it to be an exciting match, but hey, what the fuck do I know, right? I've been doing it for 20 years out of 20. Okay, moving right along, we have the International Championship, Mugen versus defending his championship versus Russ Cole, Paul Pugh, Nate Ortiz. We have a weighted average of 4.05. The averages for the matches of 4.1. We have, no 1s, no 2s. We have 6 for 3. We have 4 for 6, and we have 5 for 7 with a total of 19 votes. So someone either forgot or abstained, or who the hell knows? You know how to be. Maybe, I'm sure one of them didn't vote for themselves, or if they even filled out the fucking survey. Who knows? 4.1. I feel like this is pretty average. Not pretty average. I feel like I agree with this rating. I would probably do 4.2, or if you want to use my legend bias, I would do 4.5. But again, I'm biased for legends. So we got 4 for 6. Like I said, 6 people voted for 4 and 7 people voted for 5. So I give it a 4, which would probably put it to 4.5. That's the bottom line because JCS said so. Now we have the Splinterfest for the CCW Championship. B17 defending against Cassidy Alexander Hayes and Rexington III. We have a weighted average of 4.15. We have a viewer average of 4.2, 20 out of 20. No 0s, no 2s. We got 15% or 3 votes for 3 stars. We got 55%, 11 votes for 4 stars, and we have 6 votes, 30% for 5 stars. Again, this match 4.2 I feel is right. Maybe 4.4 if you want to be greasy, even 4.5 if you want to be nasty. The table didn't really come into use till the very end, but there was some I guess what's it called, scare spots or whatever. So again, exciting match, good, fun to watch, good to watch. What are you gonna do, right? Finally, the main event we have with a 4.2 average and a 4.2 viewing average. We have no ones, no twos. We have 15% for 3 stars. We have 50% or 10 votes for 4 stars. We have 35% or 7 votes for a 5. I think 4.2 with 20, like I said, 20 answered total out of the 20 out of 20. No one skipped. I think this is accurate. I'd probably, I feel like this is pretty accurate. If you want to be greasy, I'd do 4.1 maybe, but again, 4.2, what are you gonna? I think this more or less hit the mark. So that's pretty much, I guess on this one and a couple others, we were kind of on point. Some of them were a little banana, but I digress. Like I don't think any of these matches are 5 stars to begin with, but that's just me. I could be wrong. Maybe the international, maybe, but that's like definitely a 4.5, not a 5, but I digress. Anyway, moving right along, scrolling back down. Segment of the night. I did this. Doing this is kind of weird because like the way this thing works is like people just put in whatever. So I kind of try to consolidate their responses. Some people answered 2 things twice. Like, someone put in that their favorite segment was 3 different segments. So I actually had to fragment that to whatever. So anyway, I digress. Out of segment of the night, out of 20, we had 18 who answered. I'm just going to go down the list because for some reason they're not in listed order. So 27.7%, we have A's OCW with 5 votes. We have the Bishop segment at 11% with 2 votes. We have Dupree and Clickbait with 11%, 11.11, the same as the Lewis with 2 votes. We have the Marissa segment. There was 1, but it says 0% here, so I guess 1 doesn't count enough, so that's kind of stupid. We have the miscellaneous, which includes, I'll tell you right now, son of a bitch, scrolled all the way up. We have miscellaneous, which includes view all. Actually, Marissa should be included in this. So we have the Marissa. She has included. I messed that up. Let me just double check the responses. Tags. Okay, let's go back. Marissa. Yeah, the reason Marissa says 0 is because she's been moved into. It was only the one person voted for Marissa. So she was moved into the miscellaneous section. That's why it's a little bizarre. Anyway, so miscellaneous, we have Marissa versus Stacey Clark, the Underground Elite revealed, Suzilla, and the Splinterfest hype video. Each of these received 1 vote, and they were consolidated into just the miscellaneous category. So going back to our tags, we have miscellaneous with 22%, which is 4 votes. Untagged is 1, and that's because it just says not available. So I guess someone abstained. And then at 33.3% is the Deborah segment. So I'm assuming that's if we include all of it, that includes some people said the ambulance match. Some people said, a majority of people said the ambulance section at the end with Junko, and they kind of all consolidated into just that to make my life easier. So yeah, so that looks like it's a segment of the night with 33.3%. Now then, we have the most impactful superstar at Hard Target at 15.79%. We have B17 with 3 votes out of 19. So out of 19 out of 20 people voted for the most impactful superstar at Hard Target, or wrestler if you want to be nasty. So we have 15.79% for B17. We have 10.53, aka 2 votes for Deborah. We have 10.53, the same for Nate Ortiz with 2 votes. Parker 10.53 with 2 votes. Valkyrie 10.53 with 2 votes. And then we have the untagged section, which I do believe says what does the untagged say? It says not available. Cool. Yeah. So once again, back to the tags. This is annoying. Yeah, 15, B17, and looks like with 42.11 or 8 votes, we have Empress. So she can't keep getting away with this, but she continues to do so. I guess what's it called? Segment left a lasting impact, but yes, it did. I'd agree with that. So yeah, I agree with that. Deborah too. I don't know. I pretty much agree with it. Segment of the night. That's a toss up for me. It's between the Amp Deb segment or A's OCW. Love them both equally. Oh well, the LCW one was longer, but you get the idea, impact wise. Now the show average, this one I can break down with 20 votes out of 20, a 4.2 average, a 4.2 rating. We have 0 for 1 star, 0 for 2 stars. We have 2 votes for 3. We have a solid 12 with 60% for 4 stars, and we have 30%, aka 6, with 5 stars. So those are your ratings. I more or less agree with it. I'd probably put the show at a 4.1 or 4.3. Let's see. I'm bad at math, so we'll keep it. I agree with that. We'll keep it at 4.2 because if you ask me to get to nitty gritty, it's just gonna get nasty and greasy because I don't know how to count. My fingers don't work, and my brain is broken. So what you gonna do, right? Exactly. Anyway, so now that that's out the way, we have a little smidge more. I think at this point, I just want to look at the Ask a Podcast question segment. Maybe get some little side stories up in here. And while I have you guys and gals and non-binary pals, remember I used to say that often. I just stopped saying it. Not sure why. Just kind of like there's too much going on in my brain. So I saw some questions in the Q&A Ask Podquest. English is not my first language. I saw some questions in the Ask a Podcast section of the Discord and figured, hey, since I'm here, why not? And on top of that, I can add to said questions. So, before that, I'd like to make a point about something. Now, without calling anyone out specifically, this is a discussion rather that I had with another user on the site where they suggested, and for their sake, I'll keep it private. It's nothing bad, but just to be on the safe side. They suggested that maybe there be a segment or a section in the rule book, or both, a segment and a section, stating that rookies are not supposed to or allowed to use pyro. To which I replied, that's known. They know not to do that because when they do, they get laughed at and they stop. But to be fair, it does happen on occasion. That's why the rookie pyro thing is it's a funny gimmick. Pretty much every rookie does it when they come in, or at least the new rookies do when they come in. So I'll expound on that a little bit to get a little more depth into the discussion. Essentially, when you come here, the idea is it's a clean slate. So more often than not, the general consensus is we don't care what you did prior to here. We care about you now. And if for whatever reason what you did somewhere else can carry over eventually, then we'll weave that in on occasion. That's the general idea that we have here. So when someone that's fresh off the boat, that's what we call rookies who just kind of show up and not show up, but brand new, spanking new rookies show up. And they have just gaudy levels of pyrotechnics when you have main eventers who don't even have pyro at all. It's very weird from the user standpoint. And from the OCW fan standpoint, it's kind of like, ugh. Like, it doesn't apply like actual professional wrestling where pyro enhances you when oh, hey, look at this, Johnny Jabroni guy coming out with pyro. Oh, he's a big deal. Like, it does the opposite here. When you never competed here and you show up in your debut and you have lots of pyrotechnics, people just go, ugh. So in order to avoid the ugh, we always make the joke about rookie pyro and whatever. No one cares about smoke. Smoke is like a free reign. You can, weed up the entire arena and nobody cares. Nobody cares about graphic effects, like if it's like black and white or, whatever they do that you can do to entrances. That's fine. I remember infamously, I shouldn't say infamously, it's not infamously. I remember iconically DJ Chino, OCW legend. He had a lot of his early entrances you had the option to have like a thermal camera. I'm not sure if it's available now. Probably not. But if it is, correct me. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But his entrance included a thermal camera. So he would, come to the ring, and then the thermals would hit when he does like the whole big, I think he had the Shawn Michaels joint back in the day. So, yeah, and it was solid out. That's cool. It's neat. It's different. So, that's one thing. So when it comes to Rookie Pyro, what do you think? Should it be in the rule book, or should we just continue to giggle and say Rookie Pyro and ugh? Honestly, I think maybe as a rating back, maybe we should probably put something, because back in the day, you had to buy Pyro in the old OCW. I mentioned that in the last podcast I did. We don't have that now because, why bother? But it's kind of like one of those unwritten rules, which is weird. We have a lot of unwritten rules that maybe they should be written. What's your unwritten OCW rule that should be potentially written? Help you out. Let us know in the comments below. And by comments below, I mean the Discord or the forum or wherever the hell you want. Whatever medium you choose to express yourself with your OCW pride, love, loathing, hate, or etc., etc. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. On November 1st, 2024 at 9:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to assume, rookie Eddie Ramos posed 4 questions. So the first question was, top 3 wrestlers that wasted potential. That is a very deep question. Do you mean top 3 wrestlers in your OCW lifetime? Do you mean top 3 wrestlers in the past? There's no really, it's really the past, so you can't really go further than that, I guess. Because you basically either have right now or back then. There's like no in between. So I can try to do both for the sake of extending time, because why not? You're a captive audience, right? So listen and sit down as I tell you a tale. So I guess if we want to look in the past, there's a couple names I can think of, but I have more than 3. These would probably be random. In the past era, I would say that, and this is going to be kind of a weird statement to put, I would say that Geomon, top 3 wrestler that wasted potential. I think Geomon could be put on the list, but the funny thing about it is Geomon's still a legend in OCW, but I think his career could have had more longevity and would have been more interesting, because before Paul Pugh came to the world of OCW, blurring the lines, if you will, between, blurring the lines. Because even today, if I have a discussion regarding Pugh, some people are like, oh, I thought he hated me. It's like, no, that's just, I don't know, whatever. You just, I don't know. Is it buying the gimmick? I don't know what you call it. I don't. It's just whatever. I guess, I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. Anyway, prior to him, we had Geomon. Geomon was a very interesting fellow. If you thought I was angry, boy, oh boy, I don't think I could hold a candle or a handle to Geomon. Geomon was the first person that I feuded with in my infamous, notorious, iconic, if you will, battle for control, brother. I think the very first battle for control, and I lost. And then Geo, did I ever win it back? How did I get it back? Oh yeah, I used Nate as a proxy and beat Geo up. Anyway, I think that makes sense. Yeah, that sounds about right. Anyways, so when Geo took over, how do I express? All right, so Geo took over, and if you missed a show, he wanted you removed, banned. I remember implicitly, and this is my old man brain, Geomon wanting me to ban / fire Paul Pugh because he flaked on the match in 2000, the end of 2006 or the beginning of 2007. I can't remember when, because again, I always bring it up that he was a flake up until the Ambition era. He would show up, maybe do a match or two and fuck off, but it wasn't like, how do I put this? I say flake, but it's more like, hey, I'm done. Okay, cool. Not like he's in the middle of a program, he wasn't doing shit, so it's not like he's not affecting anything is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, he didn't do a match, or a match was late. I don't remember specifically what it was. And I had at least an hour conversation with Geomon, like yelling at me to ban Paul Pugh. And I'm like, why? It's like, they didn't fucking do his match. He didn't show up. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But when I say potential, I mean as a heel character. He had that one arc with Nate as the Nick Cage with the ex-presidents and RD Money, which was a very iconic angle. If you can find it on the forum, please look it up. It was a good fucking angle, good time. And the reason that was so shocking was because since the personalities on the forum were so polar opposite, you would never assume, again, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, that these two people will work together and actually work together well for a common enemy in RD Money, who was a face at the time. So you have two big baddies trying to beat up whatever. So again, that's somebody who I think didn't reach the full potential despite being the Hall of Fame. I don't think he reached the height. So maybe it's not wasted potential. If you want to go into the middle period, we have guys like, that was number one. We have guys like, you know what's actually weird? I want to say Mad Michael Morrison too. Yeah, you know and love Mikey. Mikey ain't been around for a hot minute, but Mikey's tenure was also very short until he came back. And even when he came back, he mostly came back as a Discord figure or a forum figure versus an actual in-ring competitor. I think Mike stopped active competition in 2008. I think there was a lot more meat on the bone. I wouldn't say wasted potential, but I would say, again, despite being a legend, because that, I think that there was still a ceiling that he could have gone to, or at least another echelon he could have made within his career before hanging up the virtual boots on a consistent level. So I wouldn't call it. I think Gio and Mike Morrison are not wasted potential per se, more like not fully reached potential, maturity. But again, it's weird because like they're in the Hall of Fame. Like, yeah, cool, but there was still more to be done. You also have to remember that, time was way different back then. So his contributions with Theater of Pain in his initial run and whatever, that's iconic in it amongst itself. So it's congratulatory to get there, to get to that echelon. But I still basically I could look at Morrison or Gio and think of someone like Nate. Like they still had a little bit left to offer, or rather a lot left to offer. And, if things were different and you would see them live now, it would be a treat. So I feel like they had more in the tank is what I'm trying to say, basically. Like Mark Henry, a little bit more. Now, if you want to go full on wasted potential, in the different era, I would say, everybody. I think everybody I listed is also legends. Is Trips a legend? I think Trips is a legend. I'm not sure. Like I feel these are all I'm trying to think. Let's go. You know what? Because we're gonna go back to the whole not wasted, but whatever. If you want fully wasted, Cheryl Sticks is definitely fully wasted potential. Cheryl Sticks was at Lucian with Valkyrie at one point, had a bright future, and kind of just left to pursue other means, i.e. the prison colony, I guess. And that petered out rather rapidly. It's a real loaded question because you also have to consider that once someone's out, I don't particularly care or remember them that much. That's another thing to consider. If we want to dive deep a little bit more, let's see. Who else do we have? There can be a case for Michael Hollywood. That's a sore spot for Team Reliable. Someone who had all the tools to succeed and did not live up to those expectations. If you want a recent example, we can go as far as Cheryl. Not Cheryl. I'm sorry, brain. I said that already. Rachel Loughlin, I believe. Rye essentially carried Rachel, god damn it, to a Lucian match, and against my better judgment, I gave a rookie Lucian match, and that's it. Kid didn't appreciate K Sarah. What do you get? Maybe they'll be back, maybe not, but that's you kind of had momentum, I guess. Even if you came up short, it was still. I'm gonna keep using the word meat on the bone, but hey, it's not for everybody, right? So I guess that's another recent one. Chris Ryder is a good example. He made it to the upper echelon, but again at a weird time, and immediately folded and right back down the card, or I think left. I don't remember the specifics. So that was a lot of wasted potential. If you want to look within the confines of the last couple of seasons, we have Ijitsu. No, I'm just kidding. I wanted to go full in on that. Imagine if I just went in. I'm not that talented to just bullshit for another 5 minutes about something like that. But no, I would honestly say Jet Draven's a good example. Jet had all the tools, and I'm sure it's been done to death. And I don't want to speak ill of people, but you know, you don't want it, you don't want it. It is what it is. And he just, I don't know, didn't really it didn't vibe. The funny thing is, if he got his stuff together, he would be, you know, one of the people we hold up at this current moment, I think, mechanically wise. Basically like a better version of John Carter, but it just, I don't know, for whatever reason, nothing connected. People would help, nothing connected. Work to be done, nothing really done. And then it's basically blame everybody else, and that's unfortunate because I don't really have problems with people unless you're a fucking dick. And me and him always had a great rapport. It's just like the rapport with me can only get you so far. You gotta put in the work, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. And he just didn't. Same in that vein, Hanzo. I love Hanzo. Hanzo was someone who was slowly getting it, but I guess the criticism got to him or whatever. And I know John said something stupid and he left, and that was it. And he'll never be back. And it's unfortunate because again, Hanzo got the gist of it. He was actually invested. He's not like the type of person who, by the way, this is a sidebar when it comes to rookies or whatever. And maybe you should probably just not do this in general, but if you show up just for your match on stream, kindly fuck off. It is so yuck to me. If you ain't got the time, cool. Don't show up. But don't show up for your own shit and then leave because it's a bad look. It just shows that you're selfish. So why not just be full indifferent and don't show up at all? Or don't even come and just be quietly watching your shit and then peace out, because it is really not a good look to be like, oh, cool, here's my match. Or some people are notorious for that shit, and it's just very ugh. I mean, I wish I could just show up for my match, just show up for commentary. That's it, right? The rest of the show's dead silence. A fun show, right? Exactly. No, that's a pet peeve. But where was I? Hanzo, Jet, definitely. It's a shame because, again, both had the tools necessary, and Hanzo was actually was making a lot of headway, and then it just done. Another one, Pato. Love Pato to death. Not Pat Lomai, but I guess Hito Gui. That one was oddly enough, meat on the bone. Quietly went away, and I wish Hito was back or Pato or something, because that's a really good handler. But Pato's a bit on the flighty side, a tiny bit. So, I hope everything's well with Pato. But I feel in the new generation, there was a really good opportunity for a legend to come back and do some things. And Hito was fucking great, even the cannibalism aside. And I miss it. So that's, I feel, is wasted potential, because especially with a lot of favor curried, if you will. Juki Marley is another one. At one point, you wouldn't believe it, in 2012, Juki Marley was the guy. Back then, I know it's foreign to some of y'all, people would write, and he would write, and he had catchphrases, and we would do the shows, and people would be tossing the catchphrases, especially Wagwan, or, Tings, but he was the guy. He wasn't necessarily given the ball, but he had a lot of opportunities to succeed and shine, and just didn't do anything with it. You can, what is it called? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make that guy, you can't make Bumbleclot drink. So Bumbleclot did not drink. So unfortunately now, whenever Juki shows up, it's always like, no. But it's, if you don't put in the time, if you leave people hanging, if you shirk your duties, that's wasted potential. And that is Juke to a T, which is a bummer, man. Because like I said, 2012, he had the juice. And I like to see a Juki redemption arc if it's ever possible, but you never know. You never know, hoot. Bobby Minio, not just kidding. Because you know what? I get a fucking
gigantic paragraph talk about like how dare you, sir, and nah, Boob's all right. Boob did what Boob got to do. Who else do we got? Let's see. I think there's a case to be made for Jackson Montgomery. Always had a good gimmick, if you will. Good old fashioned wrestling gimmick. Never really reached the echelons, and whenever got into a good I guess motion. I hear the heater in my bedroom, and it's scaring the shit out of me. By the way, last time there was a flood, so I'm worried shit's gonna flood all over again. I'm gonna fucking have to replace a bunch of shit. I don't need this nonsense. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I feel like Jack Moore had a lot left in the tank. Didn't really reach up to the echelons they could have got to. I know real life takes its precedence. Obviously, gonna always put real life above OCW, but there was space for a premier Jack like you could have had when we talked about the Turmoil 4, which was Austin Lee, B-17, Jacob Trance Rex. There was a spot for Jackson Montgomery if he would, if he had 2 and 2 together at the time. There was definitely a spot for that, but that never really occurred, and it's unfortunate in the grand schema of things. I even go further. I'd say what's it, Ihode Mystico. There was something there, despite auspicious building blocks or whatever. Never, couldn't get out the gates, I guess. Former champion, failed on the rematch, but there was still stuff there to move forward. Didn't really get to where they should have gotten, so that's a bummer. What are you gonna do? Could say Cole Jackman, although former CCW champion, but again, someone who, and this is not so much wasted potential, but just like didn't get to where they could have gotten. Jackman got over being a weirdo, which is very rare. I'm sorry, I said Jackson. I mean, God, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, holy shit. Code Jackman. I said Jackman and Jackson. You get the idea. Code Jackman. Oh my God. You get the idea. My brain is not working right now. But yes, there was something there that person's personality could have reached higher heights. I think they got over being a weirdo, and it's to the point where when Diva uses Jack in the Box, we all call it, we call it Jack in the Box. We call it the Cole Jackman. That's when people do that, that means they left a mark on you. So know that. So shout out to Code, and we miss him. That's somebody who could have been a contender, brother. Could have been a contender. Who else going down the list? Thinking. Yeah, I think that's all I got in the top of my head right now. Like currently in the current roster, there's not wasted. But actually, no, there is one. Megan Suzuki. Megan Suzuki's being pulled up by the hamstrings by Dragana, and hopefully they do something with that. Young Band's cousin, if you will, because Dragana doesn't tend to waste their time with do nothing. So that's a ripe opportunity to do something, and they should probably do something with the Dragana rub. So if you want a modern day example, and I think that's what I got on quote unquote wasted potential, I guess. Yeah, that's a good op. Yeah, right. I mean, there's others, but we're not going down that rabbit hole, brother. Because again, I'm not trying to be that guy no more, brother. But I got words. I got dirt. Let me stop. Number 2 question by Eddie Ramos. Wow, this is longer than I thought. That's my fault for just talking like an ass. Anyway, we have, if OCW didn't have a competition element, who would you as Booker push? Can be someone past or present. This is a loaded question because funny thing is, because if OCW did not have a competitive element, I would not be doing OCW. Because if you know me, anything about me, I don't like headaches, right? And what's a headache? Saying, hey, you're fighting so-and-so, and you're going to lose. And I get boo-why, or I get some sassafras. I'm not good with that. Because it boils down to, here's my reasoning, fuck you. And that's not conducive to an environment. Because I just, I've made boneheaded decisions in the past, obviously. And as a man, you can realize you made bonehead decisions. But for the most part, everything I do is riddled in some kind of logic, whether you like it or not. Like I don't do things on a favoritism level, so to speak. So to book a non-competitive element would just not be in my wheelhouse because I don't like here's an example. Matter of fact, here's an example that I can give you that's not related to OCW but might be kind of. So there was a wrestler in NXT who was whatever, and they were basically like, whenever they were asked to lose, they would be like, well, it's not really good for my character and this, that, and the third and NXT and I don't think Mike, would lose, like shit like that. With those people, right? Like the Bob Holly thing where I should beat everybody and become champion, then what? And that's it. So that was then. Now they're in another company and they're like they're champion, right? But they're on a TV show that's barely watched, and they've been champion for like, I don't know, like maybe 700 days. So basically they took that energy, brought it to another company, and the guy was like, okay, well, here, and just, you can have your fiefdom where nobody's watching. So I can't deal with that. That's annoying. And if you think about it now, like imagine like someone like Cassidy or Parker or Rex, like, yeah, I don't want to lose to fucking so-and-so. Like, I don't give a fuck what you want, brother. We trying to build stars over here. Like, on the one side, it would be funny, like, to, book stuff, but booking is difficult to begin with, week to week to begin with. So I wouldn't be doing that. But just the thought of it in non-OCW would just sicken me. I could just hear, oh my God, bro. I could just hear it now. You want me to lose to this guy? What? Like, it's just, ugh. Like, brother, I need you to put over a young Jordan Trance. I ain't doing that. Doesn't work for me, brother. Or because your car looks prettier. No. But for the sake of this argument, if we were in competition, who would I push? Okay, we'll entertain this argument. Top heel in the company, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, would be Cassidy Hayes. Nate Ortiz would be in the John Cena spot of, does he still have it? Does he not still have it? Winning big matches, but also putting over like young talent. My main heel would be Cassidy Hayes. I could just imagine that me having to deal with Rust in a non-competitive aspect. I need you to do the job, brother. Listen to me, sensation. This is not happening for me. My name is P. Never mind, you get the idea. That's a really shitty French accent. Top babyface. Top babyface. Damn. I feel like, we're not doing this stupid argument. I just push Cass. Fuck it. Cash as top heel, reigning over with Castianity, because it's solid. Castianity's always solid. And then we would build like a faction to, big NWO shit. 90 NWO without the 9,000 people. Basically non-DNS. And you would use OCW. It would be Castianity versus OCW, and whatever. And then we build up like a babyface team. Maybe the team, like, if we want to use modern OCW, we would probably build a team like a super team to take them on. Would be like I don't know. In this situation, I guess Dupree would be active also, but as again in a very Ric Flair like role, basically just putting over young heels and shit like that, brother. But if we make a babyface super team, I would probably do like Nate Ortiz, because I'm a fucking mark. John Carter, Mark Reese, maybe as a team. Who else? Let me see what else. Yeah, keep it small, like it's them against the onslaught of Castianity, where Castianity's victimizing the locker room and shit. Just NWO bullshit. And then in Castianity, who the hell would you have in Castianity? That's the other question. You know what? We're not done with this fantasy bullshit. I'm already annoyed thinking about it. Just ugh. Moving on. Stupid question. I hate it. But the fact is, I would never do it because I don't enjoy people enough to. Oh, I don't want a job. I don't care. Shut up. What would happen if crossplay was allowed? Question number 3. Would we do a full full draft WWE style? How would you handle it? Papa, you act like we ain't crossed this bridge before. Nothing. I'd probably unify a couple of the titles, maybe one, maybe the top title. I'd probably unify OCW, CCW, and make some stupid name up. Unified, whatever the fuck, I don't know, something dumb like that. I would probably consolidate and then introduce something like so we consolidate the top. So we already we eliminated one championship. I'd probably in the stead of the world championship, I'd add a women's tag, perhaps of some sort, and I think that would be it. Consolidate the top title, and then just have we still have the same number of titles after the consolidation, and we'd have an extra title, which would be the women's tag, and hopefully that division wouldn't have to be killed. The women's tag division, that would be about it. There would be no draft. There's no point in the draft because when you have to understand that with the draft, there's all kinds of things regarding like booking and shit like that. It's a headache. It really isn't. It doesn't really do anything because everyone's unified anyway. So why would we, when we can come together now, split it up apart? Oh, hey, let's have fucking Riot and Turmoil. Like we did that already, and it wasn't great when it was split up. It wasn't conducive to a functional environment and shit like that. Maybe if crossplay is enabled and then there's like a huge influx. I'm talking about like a massive influx of people, like at least 25 new people, and they're actually like Jakes and Pews and Parkers and shit, like workers and shit like that, and Emps. They're doing their work, and Rise, they're doing work and shit. Then there might be a cause for a draft because at this point we have enough people to do heavy lifting that we can probably put someone in one thing and someone somewhere else and regulate the load. But at currently where we're at now, which is a lot, we have, I think, 43 active handlers or some shit like that, or 40-something, I believe, maybe 40 or whatever. And then when you add alternate characters and shit, it's like 80 or 100 or some goofy number like that. Half of them aren't even used on a week-to-week basis. So, no, we would not be doing a draft. Top thing would be consolidation, CCW, OCW, adding women's tag title, and that's probably it. Maybe, because, or maybe we might even consolidate the middle titles, I guess, maybe, and add because the problem is, like, let's say we do North America International, right, for whatever fucking reason. If we consolidate them and then bring in a new title that's considered, I guess, below. That's another problem because it also had people's perceived identity of a championship. Can't help that. People want to fucking pretend they can pretend. So if we consolidate the middle section, people are just going to be like, whatever. Whereas now, I don't think there's a hierarchy between international and North American. They're kind of like just the same. For North American, you have a guy like Jinx holding the championship, which is, one of the newer guys. And then international, you have an older guy, Nato Tiz, living legend, GT Go, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think that necessarily reflects on the championship itself, just who holds it. So, yeah, keep it simple. Hopefully that answered the question. If not, don't care. Sorry, I tried. Number 4, how hard to edit? Jesus Christ, Eddie. How hard is it to edit for videos? Can a noob learn, and how long would it take? Editing is basically down to your education. People posted a bunch of different like tutorials and shit. You can basically just go to YouTube and type in whatever program you want to use, and from CapCut to Magic Vegas to Adobe Premiere, and you get the basics. I, out of necessity, taught myself how to use Windows Movie Maker, which was super easy. Then Cyber Director 9 or some shit. Then Sony Vegas, then Magic Vegas, then Adobe After Effects, then Adobe Premiere, shit like that. Never fuck with DaVinci Resolve. I did some other obscure video editors, but it's more or less the same. Yeah, if you just got to put in the work. It's not difficult. You can even edit John Carter edits from a fucking phone, for Christ's sakes. A lot of people do, actually. So it's basically down to what you want to do and how much effort you want to put forth. And you can basically pick up all the basics within a tutorial, honestly. Just depending, you get a good tutorial. The basics and shit like that. Because all you need to do is move videos and maybe regulate your volume and shit like that. And I could not find any other questions, or at least I didn't scroll up enough to find any other questions. So I think that about does it for us. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you want a TLDR, what's going down, like downtown Julie Brown, we have the anniversary show, 20th anniversary, coming up on December 21st, Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Animal House on the 23rd of November, Saturday. Get your matches in. Guest booker for Turmoil 323 or 324, I forget the number, which is next week, will be done on Monday by one B17. And following that, in 2 weeks, will be Joe Deaver's booking debut for Turmoil as well for 324, 325, whatever number it is. You got 5 to 6 weeks roughly to build for your anniversary matches. And if your match is not on the show, I apologize. It is what it is. You feel free to take it personally because it's always personal. Remember that it's always personal. Always, always, always. But no, truth be told, it's going to be about 8 matches, maybe 9, because again, not doing extra work, brother. Jake's on limited contract and I'm on limited patience, so I'm not trying to make myself crazy. Sorry, Hoot. That being said, Hard Target 1 ended up being a good size. Pause, no Diddy. 315 total with segments, 230 with just matches. So good stuff for y'all. Very good creative output, which is why when segments run longer on a pay-per-view, I'm not necessarily upset as long as they're entertaining because you have that extra time allotted. So that's good. And I do believe that covers it. Also, tell us your thoughts regarding Lucian in either in October or October of 2025 or the March of 25. Get some discussion on that. Feel free to discuss the ratings, what you thought about them, because they'll be on the site as well. And I do believe that does it for me. If you have any questions, since I don't mind doing, actually, do I mind doing these? I probably don't. I don't know. I don't have a phone. I'm sad. I don't know what to do with myself. I just go outside and do calisthenics or some shit. I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyway, yeah, questions, put in the Discord. I'll answer them on the next show because why not? Next show won't be as long. It's about an hour because I like talking because I'm sad. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. All that good stuff. There should be a show coming down later tomorrow. The Turnbuckle news recap and all that good stuff done by Emp, and that's pretty much it. Thank you for our Patreons who keep the dream alive. Matter of fact, you know what? Thank you, because this shit ain't easy. It helps a fucking ton. So I appreciate you, Patreons. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber and you want to help, because I'm a horrible Patreon contributor, the worst, honestly. Patreon.com/OCWFED. Just a bad contributor. Like, not good. But we appreciate y'all. It helps a ton. All right. That's it. Goodbye.